Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends animated style Venom. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the awesome packaging. This guy was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. They put him up for sale during their Hasbro PulseCon. That's where I got it. And it does come in this really cool looking packaging. Here we have some really nice looking Venom artwork. It's just his face just blasted on the front here. You can see his tongue with all the slime and the big teeth and everything. Very classic Venom. On the side of the box, it does say Venom. On the top, nothing going on, but on the back, we get some really cool looking Venom artwork. Again, super old school. It looks very nice. And once you take the figure out of this little box, let's go ahead and see what we have going on here. I'm sure most people already know what or how he comes packaged, and that is in the old school Toy Biz style packaging. So this looks very cool. Right on the side, we get some nice looking Venom artwork. Up here it says Spider-Man, then we have Spidey hanging out on the top. We got the old school Marvel Comics logo. Here you're able to see Venom inside of the packaging looking all crazy. And yeah, that's a good looking figure. I'm so glad that they finally put Venom on this body. I always thought that it was the perfect buck for Venom, and by the looks of this figure, I think it worked out pretty well. On the back of the box, we get some information about Venom. We get some cool artwork again, and then we have this old school looking graphic where it's like a colorless image of the character. And once again, it says Spider-Man. And that's about it for the awesome packaging. I do wish this is collector friendly. I'm going to say it every time because I think it'd be awesome if Hasbro made these retro cards collector friendly. But, you know, they don't because they want us to buy two. It is what it is. I understand. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get Venom out and take a look. All right, so here we have Venom right out of the packaging. And I'm having a bunch of fun with this figure. I'm so happy that they finally put Venom on this body. Ever since this body debuted on Omega Red, a lot of people were saying that it would be perfect for Venom and Sabretooth. Hopefully one day they give us a good classic 90s style Sabretooth on this body. I think it would work very well. As of right now, they've only used this body on two other characters, on Omega Red and on Warpath. And I was a huge fan of the Warpath figure. It was probably my favorite Marvel Legends of that year, if I remember correctly, or he might have been like top 3 or something, but I love that figure. I'm a big fan of Warpath as a character, and I was happy to see a good figure of him. So I think that it was awesome that Hasbro listened to fans and put Venom on a body that works good for the character. Previously, he was on the Hyperion Sentry body mold, and that body just wasn't that good for the character. It's not a lot of fun to pose around with. It's not as big and imposing as Venom should be, and that's what we have back here in the corner. You could see that's the Venom on the Hyperion body. And yeah, it just didn't quite work for the character. But this body works so much better, and I'm having a lot of fun messing around with it. He's very posable. He looks good. I love the size. He's just so big and imposing, and he just looks exactly how Venom should look. And I know that this is kind of like a stylized version with the, I don't know if you want to call it cell shading, but it's like the animation style paint job. And I think it's really cool, but hopefully they give us just a classic all black Venom with the white spider logo on the chest without the fancy paint work. Even though I do like this, and it's kind of crazy because like you could see that it's red and blue, and it does look really cool. But check this out. Once you turn them to one side, like in this case, all the blue is gone, and it just looks like he has these red highlights, and that's pretty interesting. Then you turn them this way, and the red disappears, and all you could see are the blue highlights. So you could really get creative and do different types of interesting photography with something like that. But yeah, as much as I like this, I do hope that they give us a just black version of Venom. I think that would be awesome. The spider logo is pretty well done. They did a good job painting it. It was a lot crisper than I was expecting. Like, you know, I always hate to buy Marvel Legends straight from Hasbro Pulse, especially if like, you know, because you never know what you're going to get in terms of paint. And if it's bad, there's nothing you could do. You know, who knows if they'll give you a refund for some sloppy paint. You would hope they would, but you know, it's not something that you want to worry about. If you're in stores and you see figures, you could kind of dig through different ones if there's multiples to find the one with the best paint. In this case, when Venom was on the way, I was excited, but I was like, all right, let's wait and see. Let's see how the paint is before I get too excited. Thankfully, the paint was all good on this guy. The lines on the spider logo look very good, very clean, very sharp. Same thing on the back of the figure. It just all looks very good. And you could tell that they had to do a lot of layers of the white paint over the black to get full coverage. But it came out very good, and I think they did a good job with the spider logo. And they also did a good job with the highlights. You know, all of it just looks very clean and very well done. The body doesn't have a lot of sculpted details or anything like that. It's basically just a clean body with the exception of the forearms. He does have like some symbiote kind of details on there, so that's awesome. But yeah, I think this is a great looking figure. Like I said, this body works perfectly for Venom. The only thing that they kind of dropped the ball on, and you know, this is kind of silly. It's like a small thing. They definitely could have fixed it and made this figure pretty much perfect. But the fact that they left the holes in this body is kind of whack. Look at that. You got the holes here. For Warpath and Omega Red, this didn't really matter because they had their shoulder pads and you kind of needed these pegs. But in this case, you know, it just makes Venom look a little funny. So I think I might have to fill those in and see if I could match the paint and just hopefully I can make it look seamless, because as much as I love the figure, I think those holes are just kind of, I mean, they don't ruin the figure whatsoever. They are kind of an eyesore, but they're not really that huge of a deal. I'm still having a bunch of fun playing with them, but it's just kind of like lazy, you know? You see that and you're just reminded of like, come on, man, like, come on, like, it's lazy. You could have, that could have been taken care of, but it's not ruining the figure for me whatsoever. It's just something that I think I'm going to have to fix. But yeah, this is a great looking figure. Check that out. And then for accessories, Venom doesn't come with a whole lot, but he does come with some cool stuff, including 2 different sets of hands. So first off, we have a set of open clawed hands, and these things look badass. It definitely looks like he could get some damage done with these. And then he also comes with a set of fists, which is always nice. Aside from those, he does come with 2 different head sculpts. This is the first one here. You can see that it's very well sculpted. I love the way the teeth look. The tongue looks nice, the eyes look good, just everything about this head sculpt is very well done. It does look like the animated series version of Venom with those big old lips, and it also just screams classic Venom as well, so this is a really nice looking head sculpt. And the second head sculpt looks very good too. It's very similar to the other one. The only huge difference is that his tongue is inside of his mouth. You could see that it's like wrapped in a circle, kind of like a snake or something sitting in his mouth. So that's kind of cool. Aside from that, it's very similar to the other one. It looks very good. I do have a little bit of black on the white of the eye there, so I might have to clean that up or something. But yeah, aside from that, I think this is a good looking head sculpt. I think I prefer the other one. I just like the way he looks with his tongue all out being crazy. So I like that they included 2, but I prefer the other head sculpt. And it would have been nice if they included an unmasked Eddie Brock head. That would have been awesome. And also I would have preferred if he included some like tendrils or something to plug into these holes. You know, if they're going to have the holes in there, you know, it is what it is. But why not give us some tendrils just to stuff them in there and cover them up a little bit? Even though that's not necessarily a look he had in the animated series, I think it just would have done a little bit to add a little bit more to this figure. But as far as the accessories that he comes with, I'm happy with the extra set of hands and I'm happy with the 2 heads. So good stuff. And then for some quick size comparisons, very quickly, here we have Venom alongside the Marvel Legends Omega Red and Marvel Legends Warpath. And obviously all 3 of these figures are on the same body as we discussed before. And there's just so many characters that they need to redo on this body. Pretty much everybody that uses the Hyperion body mold should be upgraded to this body, including Hyperion, Sentry, maybe like Radioactive Man. Most of all, I would like to see Gladiator from the Shi'ar Empire. I think that he would be perfect on this body, and I just don't know if they'll ever revisit that character. They've done him twice already, and one was just a repaint of the other. They never really did like 2 completely different versions of them. There was the Comic-Con version that had a shiny paint job, and then the Apocalypse Wave version, which had a more matte paint job, but that figure became pretty rare because it came with the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure head. So, I don't know. I feel like they could justify revisiting Gladiator, and I would just love to see them do it on this body because I think it works perfect for the character. I'm almost at a point where I might just take my extra Omega Red and have someone turn him into Gladiator. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, this is a good body. Hopefully they use it more often going forward. And then next up, we have him alongside the Marvel Legends movie Venom with a custom head from Casting Cave. Shout out to Corey. And then on the opposite side, we have the Marvel Legends Deluxe Venom. And I think it would have been pretty awesome if they gave us a comic book Venom on this movie Venom body. But I think the texture of it might have made it a little bit weird for this animated inspired version of Venom. Or even for like a classic comic book Venom. I think the texture on the movie Venom might make it a little strange. So I think it would be cool if they revisited this body and just kind of retooled it just a little bit. Made it smooth. Put that classic Spider logo on the chest, give him a comic book head, and then we're good to go. That would be like the perfect Venom because it has like crazy articulation and it's crazy fun to play with. But as it is, I think this body that we have on Venom works perfectly fine, but this is another option that they have. Next up, we have him alongside the Marvel Legends Venom from the Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure wave and the Marvel Select Venom. And yeah, I think that it's obvious that this new body is so much better than this old one, but it would be cool to get this body with this paint job and with this type of head. Let's go ahead and do a quick head swap. I don't know if this head actually works on this body. It might be a little small, but let's check it out. A little small, but it could work. Oh, look at that. That's pretty dope. Yeah, so there you go. And this head might be a little bit too big for this, but whoa, yeah, it's too big. That looks crazy. That reminds me of the old Marvel Superheroes toy. The one, didn't it like squirt water or something like that? Like he had fists that were out like that. Remember that? But yeah, we definitely need a more classic looking Venom on this body for sure. I think they'll get to it. I mean, I kind of want to get a double, an extra and repaint it or something, but I just feel like Hasbro will get to it, you know, maybe like as a retail release or something. And then next up we have Venom alongside the Mafex Spider-Man and the Mafex Venom. And yeah, I think the size works pretty good. You could probably fit in your Mafex Spider-Man figures alongside this Venom. And speaking of Mafex Venom, this thing is almost like the perfect Venom figure. He's just too small, obviously, but imagine if Mafex made him as big as this Marvel Legends Venom. This thing would be freaking unbeatable. Right now, its only flaw is that he's a little too small. And then next up, we have Venom alongside the Marvel Legends Absolute Carnage. I think that's what they call that one. And then on the opposite side, we have the Mafex Carnage. And I just opened up this Mafex Carnage for this review and to include him into my Scarlet Spider-Man review. And I just gotta say, Mafex freaking killed it on that Carnage. That thing is awesome. I've had him in my closet for like 3 months. I kind of forgot about him, to be honest with you. But I think I might have to review it, even though it's kind of old. They freaking killed it. But anyways, I think he looks pretty good with the Marvel Legends Venom. And then next up, we have Venom alongside the Marvel Legends PS4 Spider-Man and the Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man. And I think Venom looks awesome next to them. And then last but not least, here we have Venom alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And the articulation on this body is pretty good. Let's go ahead and start off at the head. He does have a ball joint, so his head can move side to side. He could look up to about right there, but then his head wants to come off, so he can only really go to about right there before his head actually wants to pop off. And then he can look down to right there, which is nice because most of the time he's going to be looking at characters that are smaller than him. So that works. For the torso, we do have a waist swivel and an ab crunch. The ab crunch is really nice. Check that out. Bam. That is awesome right there. Ooh, that works. And it goes back a decent amount, but this forward is crazy right here. That is awesome stuff. I would have preferred a diaphragm cut, obviously, but, you know, it's all good. I like this body, as I said before. But, you know, if it had a diaphragm cut, it would be perfect. As it is, though, I am really happy with this ab crunch situation. And, you know, you could pretty much do the same stuff with the ab crunch and the waist as you could with the diaphragm joint, so it's all good. And then for the arms, he does have awesome butterfly jointed shoulders, so you could get his arms way back and then this arm way in front. Look at that. Ooh, that's awesome. That's like the main attraction here on this body is these awesome butterfly joints. So really good stuff there. And then he does have ball joints at the shoulder, so they do go all the way around. And then you could get his arm up to about right there. See that? So pretty good stuff. He does have double jointed elbows, which get a good bend. Bam, there we go. He does have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. And then for the legs, you can kick them forward to about right there. And if you crunch him forward at the same time as kicking his legs up, it gives the illusion that his leg is coming up a little further. But yeah, look at that. That's pretty good. And then you could bring them back to about right there. They come out to the side, only to about right there, so not quite able to do the splits. He does have upper thigh swivel. He's got double jointed knees, which are pretty awesome. There's no lower leg swivel or anything, but at the foot, you could bring his foot forward to right there. bring it up to right there, and then he does have rocking ankles. So he does have like a standard Marvel Legends articulation setup, but you know, he's still able to get a lot of range out of his joints, and the main thing is he's just a lot of fun to play with, man. This big, huge guy with all these joints, it's awesome stuff. Look at that. So really good articulation on this guy, even though it does feel very familiar. And there are a couple of things that might have been better, but still, I think it worked out very well. And it's a good amount of articulation for Venom. So I'm very happy with the posability and fun factor on this guy. Alright guys, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think this is an awesome figure. I think he looks great. I like the animated design that they gave him. The accessories are cool, the 2 different sets of hands, the 2 different heads. But most of all, the thing that's really attractive to me about this figure is the fun factor and the articulation. He's just so much fun to pose around and play with. And he has a very familiar articulation setup, but for whatever reason, I'm having more fun with this guy than I would with other characters that have similar setups, you know? He's just a lot of fun to pose around and mess with. And I know some people would argue and say that they should have gone with the movie Venom body or a body that had a torso like that. And I could definitely understand that argument. But to be honest with you, the fun factor between these 2 figures is pretty much equal. And the posability feels pretty much equal. So I'm happy with the body they went with, honestly. So they did a great job with it. And yeah, it's really the fun factor that takes this figure to the next level. But I will say he's not perfect. There are a couple of things I feel they should have done differently. First off, the main thing is they should have plugged up these peg holes. I think this is pretty unacceptable, and it does feel very lazy for them just to put out this figure with these peg holes like this. And I understand not wanting to retool a whole new body just to plug in the peg holes, especially when we have a body that works so perfectly for the character. But they should have figured something out. They should have given us tendrils. They should have done something to plug up these holes because, you know, when you're just playing around with the figure or you have them on the shelf, it's not really a big deal. You know, you could definitely live with it. But when you want to go take pictures of them or do any type of photography, like those things are going to be an eyesore and they're going to be something you're going to have to deal with, you know, and that's just kind of whack. So I wish they would have plugged up those. And the other thing is, I think it would have been nice if they would have given us an Eddie Brock head instead of this head. Even though it is cool he came with 2 different heads, I would have preferred an unmasked Eddie Brock head. I think that would have been awesome. But, you know, as it is, I'm very happy with this guy. A couple of little nitpicks, but nothing major. I was briefly considering buying an extra so that I could repaint it all black and give it like a classic look. But I think I might hold off because I really feel like Hasbro's going to get to that eventually. Oh, one thing I kind of forgot to notice, I forgot to say before, is that this figure is not really black. Like all the black on him, I mean, it's like close to black, but it's a very dark, deep blue. So it'd be nice if they gave us just a black Venom with the logo on it and, you know, give us that classic comic book Venom on this body. I think that would be awesome. But as it is right now, if you want to do that, you might have a lot more painting than you might think, you know. But I think you could you might be able to get away with just like cleaning off the red and blue, and like the rest is close enough to black. It's just when you get it under lights, it's not necessarily black. But you know, I think Hasbro's gonna get to it eventually anyway, so I don't think I'm gonna deal with it. But yeah, man, I'm very happy with this figure. I think they did a great job. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And also be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed. Thank you to channel members. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Peace out.